Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Saturday, November 7th, 2020, and today we're going to be taking a look at Joe Biden, or President-elect Biden. I'm going to have to get used to saying that for the next couple of months. His chance of having a large electoral college victory. Now, the highest that I could see President-elect Biden at is roughly 319 electoral votes. This comes from the states of Georgia and the states of, not really states, it comes from the state of Georgia and the state of North Carolina. So both of these states combined total up to roughly 31 electoral votes, and they are pretty important states to say the least. These states had tens of millions of dollars funded directly into them. Georgia is expected to see possibly hundreds of millions poured into this upcoming Senate election, or elections actually, for both the regular election and the special election. If you haven't heard, Georgia will be going into a runoff for both elections. Take a look here on the Fox News map. They've called everything. I don't know about CNN if they have called all of the states. I don't believe they've called Arizona yet, but look at Georgia. It's going to a runoff in the regular election and a runoff in the special election. So two opportunities for Democrats. Raphael Warnock's probably a given, but again, never take anything for granted in America. Things definitely can change. So as we see what is left in the state of North Carolina, I think that is really important because we have a lot of early results. So before we actually dabble into North Carolina, let's talk briefly about why Joe Biden actually has the possibility of reaching more than 300 electoral votes. Coincidentally, in 2016, Donald Trump won the election with 306 to Hillary Clinton's 232. The most likely scenario, given the results today, is a Joe Biden victory with 306 electoral votes to 232. The reason for that is because we've seen states flip back from the Donald Trump column, and those 16 electoral votes that push Joe Biden above 290 come from the state of Georgia. In Georgia, we see a 7,000 vote lead for Joe Biden. Democrats estimated, even in Biden's best case, based off the remaining ballots out there, Joe Biden should only win the state of Georgia by roughly 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 votes. 7,000 is irreversible. Yes, there are ballots that could be out from what we call military personnel, but actually it's just voters abroad. These are people that are citizens abroad in European countries or really across the world, generally European countries, and a number of military members. Now, actually, I believe, as we've seen in a number of states, the voter abroad ratio of citizens to military personnel is 1.5 to 1. So when you think about that, you know, a lot of these citizens are probably voting for Democrats. That's really how we've seen the electorate go, and it probably won't be enough to counteract the amount of military voters that are expected to go to Trump. And even then, actually, what we saw in Allegheny County in Pennsylvania, Donald Trump lost the military / overseas vote 4-1. Joe Biden won 4 ballots to out of every 5. And I think that is just very interesting, to say the least. And I think that was something that really dealt a bad blow to Donald Trump, which is why Pennsylvania is now called. We do have some ballots that could have been received by 5 p.m. yesterday in Georgia, but this 7,000 vote lead seems to be insurmountable for President Trump. So I will now give it to President-elect Biden. Georgia goes blue. So the final state to take a look at where we could actually see Biden jump up to 319. Sorry, not even 319. I cannot do math correctly. 321. It's been a long day, been a long 5 days. My gosh, long election night. Glad it's over. I won't be tuning in to cable television for a little bit, just to take a little bit of a break. But we are starting right up into 2022, and we have 2 Senate races that you cannot forget about, because they will determine the balance of power without a doubt. But North Carolina, why has it not been called? Donald Trump maintains a lead here of over a percentage point, and we've already seen Wisconsin called, which was decided by less than a point. We've seen Pennsylvania, which is still within a point but expected to expand. We've seen Arizona has been called, which is within a point. So why has North Carolina not been called? Well, the reason isn't because they're looking for fake Democratic votes. This election did not experience voter fraud. That may be a declarative statement, but it is a true statement regardless. And even if you do support President Trump, take a look at the results for yourself. Not everyone can be against you. The entire world is not against Donald Trump. That's really just a facade that he has pushed, that a lot of people think, you know, the media is against Trump, or, you know, the election officials are against Trump. But at the end of the day, these votes were cast legitimately, and President Trump has legitimately lost the election. So looking at North Carolina, the reason why it has not been called is not because they are afraid of President Trump, really. This is because we have over 170,000 potential outstanding votes. And we'll discuss what could actually happen in that scenario. So in order for Joe Biden to win North Carolina, to put it plainly, is, assuming that we reach 177,000 votes, he would need to win them by a ratio of 3-1. Only then does it put him over Donald Trump by roughly 10,000 votes. Well within recount territory, absolutely. But it's still a victory regardless. However, it isn't likely that we have 177,000 votes out either. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article from, I believe, the Greensboro News and Record. They said there's a potential 171,000 estimated votes left to count across North Carolina. And we have to wait till November 12th in order to see full results from North Carolina. That is because if your ballot is postmarked by Election Day and it is received anytime between the Election Day and November 12th, it must be counted. So Republicans are pretty upset about that, but at the end of the day, Donald Trump probably still will win the state of North Carolina, so I don't think he should try to call voter fraud in this state. But I do just want to point out that, this state could see the potential of going to the Democratic nominee. And when you're looking at where these ballots are coming from, well, we have roughly 98,000 outstanding mail-in ballots. And we all know mail-in ballots typically favor Biden. That's just factual. That isn't, something that I'm speculating. That has been proven right now. And many of those ballots, looking at the amount of outstanding mail-in ballots, we probably won't see all of them counted or all of them received. So it's really teetering on the possibility that this state does not receive as many mail-in ballots as they are expecting. So keep that in mind. I also do want to just say that it's not just this. There's a reason why we're so weird about North Carolina, because we might not actually see as many outstanding votes as we previously thought. Accepted but untallied mail-in ballots, 32,000 mail-in ballots have been accepted after arriving. They are no longer lumped in with the state's outstanding number above, but they have been included. They've not been included in the state's unofficial results. So they have technically been counted, but they haven't been published. So that is something that the state is probably waiting on for all of the ballots to be received. We haven't received updated results from North Carolina in days. So these accepted but untallied mail-in ballots will be counted, but that takes out roughly 32,000 of the 171,000 we previously thought were outstanding, and these 98,000 as well, really, we're deducting at this point. And then the provisional ballots, these are voters that vote through provisional if there are problems at the polls, which actually may not favor Joe Biden as much. Typically, when you see provisional ballots come in, it'll usually favor President Trump, just because the people that were voting in person and would have issues with the polls may end up voting provisional because they were voting in person. And generally we saw on the Election Day vote is that those who supported President Trump came out on Election Day, and those that supported President Biden voted by mail. So adding all the three categories together, it potentially could be 171,000 votes, but realistically, it's not going to be 171,000 votes. In 2016, just over half of the provisional ballots were rejected. There's 41,000 of them, and that actually may benefit Joe Biden, but he's going to need to win almost 80-90% if we even come close to being low in terms of the amount of outstanding ballots, and really, that's going to be very negative for Joe Biden. But it's not out of the question. That is the thing with these outstanding votes. As we've seen in parts across this country, Joe Biden has actually won a number of these popular or mail-in ballots by, sometimes 80-20. So if that is to occur with the amount of outstanding ballots, Biden would actually win the state of North Carolina. But I don't think it's super likely. Actually, nor do I think that it's likely at all. I just did want to point out that it is possible that Joe Biden ends up winning the state of North Carolina, because we saw, we really didn't expect Georgia to go blue. I don't think really anyone except, I called Georgia blue, but again, it was a tilt state. I was very careful about that characterization because I was afraid that it could be wrong. Obviously, I'm predicting it, giving you guys the numbers, but I saw Georgia going blue, but then again, I also saw North Carolina and Florida going blue. So again, there are some mistakes in certain predictions. I actually only got it off by 2 states, so keep that in mind, but I don't want you to just blindly take my word for it. North Carolina has the possibility of going blue, which would bring Biden to 321, but I don't think it's super likely. I don't think that it's likely at all. I just wanted to point out that, hey, certain voters in the or campaign managers or just campaigners in the Trump campaign say that it's still in play because Trump technically could win 100% of remaining votes, but that realistically just isn't possible. But thankfully for President-elect Biden, he's probably very happy with this one. We can probably see a Georgia call sometime in the next few weeks, which means we probably won't see a recount change much. North Carolina won't be releasing results till the 12th of November, so that's also going to be something that a lot of us are going to be waiting on. But again, remember that ratio, 3-1, 4-1 is what's needed for Biden in these outlying votes. Once we start seeing them counted, it's technically possible, if all of the ballots were counted the way they should be or accepted the way that they were expected to, or in the best scenario for Biden, if that is to occur, North Carolina could go blue. But it probably won't, and I just wanted to point out that it is possible still that Joe Biden wins over 320 electoral votes, which is comparable to Obama in 2012, but I don't think it's too likely. I think the most likely scenario is 306 to 232, which is just so ironic and really interesting to say the least. I really think that isn't necessarily the best thing that I could have seen for President Trump. But President-elect Biden finishes this map with 290, 217 for President Trump, 31 uncalled electoral votes. We can expect a Georgia call probably in this upcoming, end of the weekend or early in this week. North Carolina probably at the earliest next Saturday. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. At the bottom left of the screen, there's also a Discord server for you to go ahead and join. On the screen, there's a video you can watch and then a playlist for my 2020 post-election videos. Again, you can go ahead and check that to see how the election was maybe 2-3 days ago. I can tell you the climate was a lot different and things weren't exactly looking as good for Joe Biden, so it's always interesting to see how things can change in just a few days. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all tomorrow.